7 pharmaceutical giants are testifying on Capitol Hill, where Congress is now demanding answers on the soaring cost of prescription drugs. In the hot seat today, CEOs from 7 drug companies, including AstraZeneca, Janssen Pharmaceuticals, Merck, and Sanofi. Big Pharma reputation has been far from favorable lately, but favoritism is over here. Profitability is up here. Last year, a Gallup poll found that they ranked dead last in popular among the nation's largest industries at a whopping negative 53% rating. But government spending on prescription drugs continues to rise. That's what's important. So fine, they're not popular. They making money. Despite the cost, their products are necessities. And the last estimates suggest that the total spending will grow 60% from 2019 to 2027. That is $576.7 billion more than $500 billion. Now, you know this. Millions of Americans are relying life and death on Medicare to get their prescriptions. And the annual increase in Medicare spending is set at 8% each year for the next 10 years. Last week, Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Wyden launched an investigation into 3 insulin makers over skyrocketing prices for diabetes medicine that saves people's lives. Kids, in many cases. Just to give you an idea of how impactful those changes were, one of those companies, Eli Lilly, surged their insulin pricing 585% over the last 15 years. But conveniently, its CEO, well, that CEO is not present there today.
All right, let's talk about this some more. Joining us now, Chief Patient Advocate for drug discounting platform Hippo, MJ Hager. MJ, good to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me on. How you doing?
Good. I'm not 100% sure that we need hearings for this, because we all know exactly in detail what the problem is. So what do you expect following today's hearings? Are these companies going to feel public pressure as a result of them? Do they just know how to show up to these things and give the answers they know how to give without anything happening?
You know, I'm glad to see the hearings. I think it's a step in the right direction, but I do think that if we are just looking for a villain and want to simplify it and point the finger at one group, I don't think that that's going to solve the overall problem. I'm glad to see hearings on insulin, but we have problems across this industry, things like albuterol, breathing treatments. You hear about EpiPens, which are life-saving for people with allergies. I think that we have to look at it as more of a systemic problem. So, yes, the hearings are a step in the right direction. Yes, there is a place for regulation. People need to elect leaders that are willing to stand up and put the right constraints in place. But we also have to seek out and support companies that are offering disruptive technology, that are providing the transparency necessary for the free market to help this problem as well.
Okay, disruptive technology is optimistic, it's exciting, but we also know that the lobbying dollars that come from big pharma dwarf other industries by a long shot. Yeah. So if we want to be realistic, right, to sit up there and go, well, these drug companies, they're not popular. They don't care if they're popular. Popularity doesn't matter. I don't like the companies that sell the drugs that my family needs, but I go and I buy them if we need them. So what will actually make a difference beside new businesses and disruption? Because honestly, that's small potatoes.
So I spent 5 years working in healthcare, and I think that most people who've even touched this industry understand that it's an unsustainable model, that we've got to reduce prices and provide quality care to more people and not make it a, if you can afford it, then you can be healthy situation. But I definitely think that the answer is twofold. Again, we have to elect representatives and, you know, people, lawmakers that are going to be able to stand up to, industries like this. They have to say that they're not going to take corporate dollars. They have to not take money from private prisons and big pharma, and like all of the areas that we understand that these dollars come from. So we need to elect courageous leaders. Meanwhile, what can we do as consumers? We can demand transparency. We can demand to be, to have our pharmaceuticals treated like every other industry that we shop in. We go in, we can do research. Most people don't know that you can go to a pharmacy and pay $8 for a medication that down the street at a completely different pharmacy is $150. I mean, it's not just big pharma. We want to demonize them, but really, truly, it's an inefficient system with a lot of middlemen and a lot of people with their hands in the honeypot. We have got to start finding another way. When consumers are fed up with a process or a product or pricing, they seek alternate answers. And that's why I'm excited to have taken the job that I took to try to help get those affordable medications into people's hands.
But the sad thing is,
Hippo is a good answer.
The drug situation is unsustainable for consumers. It's not unsustainable for those companies. It's great for those companies. And it's tough to find elected officials that are really going to stand up because, let's be honest,
so
campaign dollars affects elected officials on both sides of the aisle.
The only thing that will make them change is if we affect their bottom line. The only way we can affect their bottom line is either through regulation or informing and empowering consumers to have the information to be able to make wise choices. Even doctors don't even know how much the meds are going to be when they're prescribing them to people. People have wildly different insurance plans.
Because they don't care.
Well, they care. It's very frustrating for physicians to prescribe medications and to take time and to have patients that they're caring for, and then 1 in 3 prescriptions is not picked up at the counter, and half of those is because over half of those actually is because people can't afford them.
And just,
I mean, I'm a mom. I've been at the pharmacy. You're
saying people order a prescription, or a doctor sends it to a pharmacy, and 1 in 3 just don't get purchased because 1
in 3 just don't get purchased. Now, some people don't think they need them. They don't want to take them, you know, but half of the people who are abandoning prescriptions are doing so because they can't afford them. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation, I have, where you have a sick kid, you go to the pharmacy to pick up a prescription, you get told at the cash register, which is not the place to be told how much you can expect to pay, by the way. You get told with the crying kid in your hands, that's going to be $150. I myself have cried saying, oh my gosh, I can't afford that. And with Hippo, you can actually go on the website, you can find out how much you're going to pay before you ever get to the pharmacy. You can choose the right pharmacy and whoever has the $8 versus $150. And with empowering consumers that way, that's one way that the free market can actually influence the bottom line and force a change in this industry.
Wow. MJ, thank you so much. Ali, I'm just
MJ talks about electing good people. MJ, you remember MJ's ad from the election? She ran. She's a combat veteran. Are you running again?
You know, after the election, we narrowly lost in a district that had lost the last midterm by 32 points, and so we lost by 2.9%. And I woke up the next day asking myself that question. The only answer I came up with immediately, I think it's too soon to tell, but the only answer I came up with was, how can I continue waking up every morning feeling like I'm fighting for my values and a better future for my kids? And I got to tell you right now, I'm pretty satisfied, feeling like I'm helping a lot of people by spreading the word about this great company. But possibly. It depends on, you know, what happens. As a medevac pilot, I tend to look for the fire and you know, rush there with the biggest bucket of water I can. And if that ends up being running for office again, then that's what I'll do.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.